All right, guys, I'm going to do a quick video here because I'm going to tell you something. This is America, and one of the ways to shut down a free society is to get people to not see both sides of a story, to get them so locked into what they believe that they won't look at anything else. So I'm presenting this to you, not in making a decision, okay, just to inform you on what's going on and what other people are saying and what other people are thinking. Now, regardless of whether you believe it's true or not, you should at least have that opportunity to decide if it's true or not. The story of the empty hospitals actually begins about October of 2019, which is from right now about 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Let's take a look at what happened at a convention, which may be what's leading up to empty hospitals.
These epidemic events are getting more and more disruptive to health and to economy. And the reason we called it Event 201 is we knew eventually one of those days, one of those events would be the big one. And that big one would really challenge our capacity to respond. And to respond to the big one, we do need to have all hands on deck.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I believe what he's referring to is this. If you want to look up Agenda 20, go ahead and look up the different World Organization agendas. But this is clear, okay? This is absolutely clear, is that our governments are wanting to take us, we the people, and put us into smaller and smaller areas, generally within the city. One is we're easier to control. We're also easier to feed. Anyway, it's a long story, and I'm not going to go into it in this video. But I will say this. There's a huge new popularity, and if you look inside of the cities, you're going to see all of these apartments going up. They're about 5 stories high. And the apartments inside are about 450 square feet. They're called micro apartments. It's a growing trend. They charge a crap load of money for it. It's good money. Anyways, if I'm going to be taking a population and I'm going to be piling them into a city higher and higher, I'm going to raise the chances of a pandemic, of a disease which is actually really severe. Not to say that it's happening now, but I am saying that yes, if we continue with that trend, it will happen in the future.
Participants are confronted by a hypothetical scenario that presents to them the challenges of a response. So we will say, here's a hypothetical disease outbreak. This is the way it might be evolving. And these are some of the challenges that you'll see that you'll have to address to address the disruptions that you're seeing to your healthcare system or to your organization. All stakeholders realize pretty quickly just how underprepared we are and just how much is possible when we work together. And that the individual actions of any government or company won't add up to a proper global response. I think if we're honest with ourselves, collectively, the international community has never done enough to respond to global health security challenges.
Now pay attention here, guys, because this is the important part.
That we knew before COVID that the world was underprepared for biological risk. When we walked into the room in New York, if you would have asked, do you think the world is prepared for a pandemic? I think everyone around that table would have said no. But it's when they walked out, I think it's when we really knew that if we are going to get ready, we need to have operationalized and integrated public-private cooperation that we haven't seen before.
Well, I'll be damned. Talk about coincidences and timing. Back in October, they did this study, and right now, even as we speak, we're setting up that cooperation between the public, the government, and business. Well, what the hell does this have to do with empty hospitals? And what proof do you have, John Masters, that they're empty? Well, I'm getting to that, but I want to give you guys a little bit more background. If you remember correctly, when the whole pandemic first came out, it was only the elderly. I believe that they were being honest, and they were saying it's the elderly that are the most at risk of death, okay? And then all of a sudden we had spring breakers partying it up at the beaches, going to town. Well, we can't have that because we are trying to set up a scenario. All of a sudden, it became common knowledge that even those under 40 could be stricken and put into a ventilator. Now, the exact numbers have never been mentioned in any news organization of how many people have actually been put on a ventilator that are in their 20s, but it could happen. And it might happen to you. So now we've closed down all the beaches. As a matter of fact, in Maryland right now, even as we speak, the governor has put a mandatory quarantine. And we knew it was coming. We knew it was going to come. You got to start people with a voluntary. And just like income tax, okay, it's voluntary to pay that income tax. Well, we're now going to enforce it. Yes, in Maryland right now, if you are not engaged in an essential service, you could get a $5,000 fine, 1 year in prison, and then, by the way, it's a misdemeanor charge, just to let you know. $5,000. Right now, cities are hungry, people. I'm telling you, they're hungry. They're not getting that revenue. And just like any animal, when it gets hungry, what does it do? It goes out and it seeks out food. Right now, with people at home, policing is it's not really going anywhere, is it? But those $5,000 fines, how do you prove I was heading to the store? How do you prove that? Revenue generation. And seriously, all joking aside, people, expect it to come to a state near you. You're going to have a mandatory quarantine before all of this is over. And real quick, I've got to give the channel a plug, guys. If you like these kind of articles, okay, because this isn't going to be monetized, and you want to see more of this, then become a member. It's right next to the subscribe button, join. Once I get enough people, I'm going to say, screw you, YouTube. I don't care about your advertising funds. I want to get people what they want to see. Now, let's take a look at those empty hospitals. All right, guys, if you jump on Twitter, okay, go to hashtag #EmptyHospitals1. Another one that's really big right now. I kind of like the empty hospital ones better. But you have Film Your Hospital. Both of those hashtags, Film Your Hospital up here, both of those hashtags have hundreds, literally hundreds of videos of empty hospitals. This is a gal here that works for a courier service, and she had some interesting things to say. Let's cut in on that real quick.
An arrogant, idiotic video made by this guy named Bo of the Fifth Column. And he's talking about, let's talk about why there aren't people in hospitals. Like we're fucking children. Let's talk about it. Because I'm gonna have to school you. I'm gonna have to tell you, not to think for yourself or not to report what you're seeing with your own eyes, okay? So I'm a medical courier and I have to go to at least, I would say it's 7 hospitals a week. And I actually have to walk through the ER to do some of the drops I have to do to pick up some of the specimens and stuff. I have to walk in other parts of the hospital, right? I don't see anybody. I see the ERs are virtually empty. It's like a ghost town, okay? I have to walk to other floors where there are patients and stuff to pick up things. I don't see a lot of people either. I talked to some of the medical staff and they think that there's something else going on other than what we're being told.
All right, so if this is true, what she's stating, okay, and also keep in mind that There were 2,000 ventilators found in storage. Let me jump back over to filming, okay? Now, when you talk to city officials, etc., and you talk to those that believe in the virus and believe everything MSN is stating, they're going to tell you that they're preparing for the peak. The peak is coming. This is why they're emptying the hospital, so they can have all of the corona patients coming in. Now, I'm going to postulate for you the possibility that, yes, they are preparing for a peak, but just not with this virus. Now, as an interesting fallout, and again, is it a fallout or is it intended? That's for you to decide. Truth Dig. Now, it doesn't matter if you're liberal or if you're progressive, if you're it doesn't matter. This isn't the point. The point is right now, due to the crisis, news services are having to lay off people and close up the smaller ones, which only leaves the larger news services. As a matter of fact, Truth Dig right now laid off all of their employees, all of them. According to them, they're on hiatus. You can look that up. Just look up Truth Dig. Staff laid off amid work stoppage, and it'll come right up. Read the story yourself. I want to jump over. I've got, no need to see all my personal stuff. This is Taya with TRNN, and she's discussing that right now, Garnet Publishing just put all of its reporters who make over $38,000 a year on furlough. Truth Out and Truth Dig, which is just what I showed you because of her, is there. Anyways, people, let me switch back to video. Now, I'm not going to go through all the articles, but trust me, there are newspapers and smaller news services that are shutting down all over America. 30,000 as of the count right now. Here, let's take a look at this. I'm going to show you just this one because it's from a major newspaper and it carries just a little more weight. The Hill, the coronavirus outbreak, which originated in China, has infected more than 62,000 people in the U.S. We all know this. Let's cut to the important part. Several newspapers and alt weeklies have announced layoffs and pay cuts because of a severe halt in digital and print advertising. The Advocate and the Times-Picayune, I know I'm saying it wrong, but these are big papers. These are bigger papers. The biggest paper in Louisiana on Monday announced that it would have to furlough a tenth of its staff and require the rest to observe a work 4-day week. BuzzFeed, even BuzzFeed, has seen staffers and acknowledged pay reductions on Twitter. Ryan Mack, a tech reporter for the news outlet, said that this plane sucks, but I'm happy that my colleagues and I are still here and that we do have a job we love. Because they're concerned that they're going to be unemployed also. Is this an opportunity by big corporations? I'm not even going to say the government, okay? But something that you have to ask yourself. Is this a plan to close smaller businesses, which are in competition to larger corporations, only leaving after the mayhem is done? And we're at the end of April, and hopefully at the end of April, they're going to start the economy again. Has decimated small businesses to where you only have McDonald's to go to. Just as a for instance, and you only have mainstream media as a news source. Be kind of handy for large corporations now, wouldn't it? Guys, you decide. Think for yourselves. Now, take a look at the other side also. I would present the other side here, but I don't have to. Just turn on the news and you'll have the other side. I'm John Masters, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.